and join us on this journey to India as we explore the political, economic, socio-cultural, technological, environmental, and legal context of the country to determine its attractiveness as a business site. So, what do we know about India? At 1.15 million square miles, the Republic of India is home to more than 1.3 billion people. Over 22 languages are spoken in the country. However, Hindi and English are the official spoken languages. India is known as the land of philosophy and spirituality. The country is the birthplace of religions that still exist today. As shown in the table, Hinduism, which is said to have developed about 5,000 years ago, is the most dominant religion in the country at 80.5%. Is India a place where we would want to conduct business? Yes. Before the late 90s, the information technology sector in India was largely in its early stages. However, coupled with an educated but low-cost workforce, foreign companies were able to start companies based in high-tech activities. This technological know-how spread to local firms, who in turn grew as a result of expanded markets both in India as well as the rest of the world. All of this growth and international development arose as a consequence of globalization.
The chief executive of the country is Pranab Mukherjee, and the vice president is Mohammed Hamid. The term of the chief executive in India typically lasts for a length of 5 years. India is a federal republic with a parliamentary system of government. There are 790 members within its legislature. Of those seats, 11.97% of the representative government is filled by women. The Indian government's favorable policy regime and robust business environment have ensured that the foreign capital keeps flowing into the country. The government has taken many initiatives in the recent years, such as relaxing FDI norms across sectors such as defense, PSU oil refineries, telecom, power exchanges, and stock exchanges. India has received $40 billion in 2015, indicating that government's effort to improve ease of doing business and relaxation in FDI norms is yielding results.
India is the 19th largest exporter in the world. India's largest exported goods include gems, precious metals, oil, machines, vehicles, and pharmaceuticals, as seen in the graph. India shipped $264 billion worth of products around the globe in 2015, which roughly represents 1.4% of overall global exports, estimated at $18.6 trillion. India's total exports by value from a continental perspective equaled 49.4% in 2015, which were delivered to other Asian trade partners. Indian shipments purchased by European importers equaled 18.7%, while North America trade partners purchased 17.1%. Next, moving on to India's imports, which amounted to $390.7 billion in 2015. India's top 10 imports accounted for 3/4, which is 75.8% of the overall value of its product purchases from other countries. Indian imports represent 2.4% of total global imports, which totaled $16.548 trillion for 2015. From a continental perspective, 56.3% of India's total imports by value in 2015 were purchased from other Asian countries. European Union trade partners supplied 11.2% of import sales to India, while 8.6% worth originated from Africa, with 6.9% coming from North American suppliers. Given India's population of 1.3 billion people, its total $390 billion in 2015 imports translates to roughly $312 in yearly product demand from every person in the country. The Human Development Index is an average measure of basic human development achievements in a country, measured by United Nations Development Program. The Human Development Report ranked India in the 130th position in the 2015 Human Development Index among 188 countries. India scored 0.609, which falls in the medium human development category, while the United States scored 0.918, indicating a very high human development, ranking 8th in the world. The United States continues to rank high, while India continues to rank low in the Human Development Index. However, India is slowly progressing. In 2014, India scored 0.586, ranking in the 135th position. Since then, India has climbed 5 spots to the 130th rank in the latest United Nations Development Program report, which is based on rise in life expectancy and per capita income. India's economic freedom rating has improved significantly since the early 1990s, but it is still low and it ranks poorly on a global scale. India is globally ranked 123 out of 144 countries, scoring 56.2 in the economic freedom in 2015, which means that the economy is mostly unfree. The levels of economic freedom from state to state within India vary greatly, while numerous states have shown significant increase and significant declines in their economic freedom rankings. The higher growth rate in each state results in greater economic freedom, as India ranked 25th in the Asia-Pacific region. The United States is ranked 49th in the world, scoring 75.4, indicating that the economy is mostly free. India is a young nation ruled by old laws. India ranked 59 in rule of law, indicating more corruption, lower-level education, and lower-level public health, while compared to the United States, which ranked at 19 globally, indicating less corruption, improved public health, and enhanced education. The government of India has taken initiative to improve rule of law by setting up a reform commission to exercise more accountability, personnel, and material resources.
When it comes to Hofstede's dimension of national culture, India shows a significantly higher power distance than America. This means that individuals whom are less powerful members of organizations accept and expect that power is distributed unequally. India as a whole is collectivist, and they have tightly integrated relationships which tie extended families and others into in-groups that highly support one another. India practices much more restraint rather than indulgence. They place less emphasis on leisure time and control the gratification of their desires. They believe their actions are restrained by social norms and feel that indulging themselves is not proper. When it comes to the data from the Trumpinar's Dimensions of Culture, India places higher value than the United States on particularism, as they place more emphasis on each circumstance and relationship, and let that dictate the rules they live by. India is more collective than individualist in behavior, as people believe that the group is more important than the individual. The group provides help and safety in exchange for loyalty. Regarding people's emotions, India as a whole is more effective than the United States. They open up more to people through trust and rapport. Their emotions communicate their objectives, and they use lots of body language when speaking. Power, title, and position matter highly in India, and these roles define individuals' behaviors, whereas in the US, people believe more that you are what you do and base worth on individuals' achievements in life. There's definitely an overlap between work and personal life in India, as you can see from the chart. One must be prepared to discuss business on social occasions and to have personal discussions at work. Turning down invitations to social functions can lead to offending someone in India. Though the United States is more internally directed than India, India does not fall too far behind. This means that employers allow people to develop their skills and take control of their learning. One must set clear objectives for employees to agree with. The major difference comes with the way that employees engage in conflict. Unlike America, where most employees are open to disagree, this may also be the case in India, but in a quieter and calmer manner, as you may not want to offend someone. India is the world's largest sourcing destination for the information technology industry. India's cost competitiveness in providing IT services is 3 to 4 times cheaper than the US, continuing to be the selling point of India to countries looking to outsource their IT work. The IT industry has also created significant demand in the Indian education sector, especially for engineering and computer science majors. This has helped them a lot. The sector is expected to contribute 9.5% of India's gross domestic product, and more than 45% in total services export in 2015 to 2016. India is among the topmost countries in the world in the field of scientific research, positioned as one of the top 5 nations in the field of space exploration. The country has regularly undertaken space missions, including missions to the moon and the famed Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle. Currently, 27 satellites, including 11 that facilitate the communication network to the country, are operational, establishing India's progress in the space technology domain. India is likely to take a leading role in launching satellites for South Asian nations, generating revenue by offering its space facilities for use to other countries. India has become very prominent when it comes to research in the technological industries. India is among the top 10 nations in the number of scientific publications published. The country is ranked 9th globally from their number of scientific publications published and the 12th in the number of patents filed. India's environment is known to be highly polluted and unhealthy. However, when compared to the United States, India has a lower amount of carbon dioxide emissions per capita. Although India's carbon dioxide emissions from fuel combustion are far less than the United States as seen in the graph, the Environmental Performance Index rated India as having one of the poorest relative air qualities out of 180 countries tested, whereas the United States was ranked in the top 15%. So, what causes this drastic difference in air quality between the countries? One reason for the massive air pollution problem in India is the fact that the country leads the world in consumption of fuel wood and agricultural waste for energy purposes. The cholla, a cook stove used in rural India, is a major contributing source to the air pollution. Another major cause of the continuously increasing air pollution in the country is the economic development of the nation, as Indian Prime Minister Modi stated. In order to combat this deadly problem in his country, the Prime Minister is asking the country and the world to focus their lifestyles on the problem in order for it to be combated. Until then, the country will hold the award for having some of the most polluted cities in the world. The Indian Constitution, the country's supreme law, has existed since 1950 and is known to be the world's longest. The Indian system follows a common law approach. The Indian Supreme Court, just like that of the United States, holds the highest judiciary power in the legal system. The High Courts of India are what we in the United States know to be the judicial authority at the state level. There are 21 High Courts, the oldest being the Kolkata High Court, established in 1862. The next level of legal authority lies in the subordinate courts, which are confined to district areas and consist of civil, criminal, industrial, and family courts. In addition to these specific courts lie the company law boards and other specialized tribunals. The company law boards have the authority to oversee all company behavior. Among the power residing in these law boards is the power to remove any company director and to maintain employee rights. Specialized tribunals act as governing boards dedicated to specific areas of expertise, such as taxes and debt recovery, and only reside over their respective fields. When comparing the Indian legal system to that of the United States, individual Indian judges take more cases in one day than their American equals. Also, the way in which jury trials are conducted are different among the two great nations. In fact, India does not recognize a jury system at all, except in rare circumstances. There is also a higher degree of corruption among the Indian legal system than compared to its American counterpart. From the SWOT analysis of India, we notice that the country's strengths lie in the high demand for domestic industrial goods, low-cost workers, and an increasing inflow of FDI. The weaknesses in India are due to very outdated labor laws, as well as poor quality infrastructures. The political structures of the country are also a roadblock to the pro-business reform movement. Though there are weaknesses in the country, there are still good business opportunities. The competition between the industries in India and the rest of the world is on a rise, leading to an influx of business. India has a large global presence regarding its exports. And lastly, there is a growing number of overseas investments in India. As far as threats to businesses in India goes, there is big competition from China, as China has become a heavyweight when it comes to manufacturing. Also, India's large power crisis is interrupting the momentum of growth. Lastly, labor issues in India and working conditions also place the country at a disadvantage.
Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope to see you in India soon.